Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. Okay, so in this message, I'm picking up on a couple. I don't know that you're a couple, two people where this connection is like old. I'm hearing like back in the day. So I feel like you could have known this person, like maybe this is a long time ago back in the day, but I'm strongly getting that for a lot of you, you grew up with this person. So you could have known this person when you were literal, actual children and you grew up together, like from childhood to teenager, from teenager to young adult, etc., like going through the stages of like maturity. But for others of you, you could have met when you were teenagers. You could have even done that little teenage dating kind of relationship thing, like when you were teenagers, or you could have met when you were young adults, but there's some kind of like youthfulness and there's some kind of tie to, like there was a call to progress in maturity, like when the two of you were around each other and when the two of you were connecting, because they're showing me this is like a joint. This is a, and maybe that's part of it, like smoking a doobie or something. But they're showing me this is like a kneecap or an elbow where it's a joint time period from one phase of life into another. So things aren't necessarily as stable or solidified. It's much more flexible. But I feel like this had some kind of effect on the relationship because I'm hearing underlying maturity hadn't changed. And I'm actually really feeling this strongly on the masculine's side of things. So it's like they liked you, but maybe they didn't know how to pick up on the fact that they were having some kind of sensation towards you that they'd never had before. I feel like they knew that they liked like looking at you or talking with you, or like there was a fixation kind of here on your energy because I'm seeing them kind of get razzed by their buddies or their friends. Like, well, if I didn't know any better, I would think that you had a crush. Like, why are you so bothered by what she's doing or who she's talking about or that she said this or that? And they're like, what? I don't have a crush on her. There's like very much, and there could be an age appropriate like equivalent to that. Like if you met as young adults, it's like, or like, what? No, like it's not that deep or, whatever, but it actually was. And this person needed to like grow in maturity. They're also showing me that like, I want to say it's like the competitive energy. It is Mars. It's like a competition energy to distinguish oneself. That's what it is, to show off, to stand out. It was in the wrong place. And again, this is tied to childhood. So I feel like they were used to showing off for their friends, their buddies. I'm seeing like there could be a friend, like a best friend, maybe they grew up together or something, that's around this guy, or it could just be like a group of friends, a group of buddies. I keep hearing buddies. Butt buddies, a group of buddies that are around, and it's like he's like trying to show off, like, watch, I'm gonna pull her hair and then I'm gonna shove her into this mud puddle, and then he does, and then it's like haha, but like really he likes you and he's fixated on you, which is why he's like picking on you. But there's some kind of version of that going on, and it's because he's trying to like jockey for position within his friend group of like, see, look, I'm cool. This even like, especially if this is young adult, this could even be like, sleeping with a lot of girls, because he wants to seem cool, like for his friends, like, see, I'm the cool one, but really he should have been distinguishing himself to you. And this is like a change that he needed to be making at this current time. Like, actually my life satisfaction, actually getting what I want, because we compete in order to get what we want. Like to get what I want out of my life, and especially in the long term in the situation, I need to start impressing the woman that I want or the partner that I want. I need to make myself competitive and distinguish myself in her eyes. And I feel like this man did not leave a good name behind him where it comes to you. At least maybe it's not like as bad as all that, but it's like they definitely did something here. I heard it wounded your pride. Like, again, at a very sensitive time for you where you were also growing into yourself as well. They could have said things. They could have been very callous. They could have tried to like diminish you or shove you down, and in a way that I think was more age appropriate when you were kids, or like you could have been more resilient. I just heard there's a quote from Pride and Prejudice where Elizabeth is talking to her sister Jane, and they're like so close, and so they're very vulnerable with each other. But Jane was referencing how mad she was at Mr. Darcy for insulting Lizzie, her sister, when Elizabeth Bennet, like when he thought she wasn't listening, because he said, oh, she's not handsome enough to tempt me. But she overheard that. So Jane was saying to Lizzie, she was like, or no, I'm sorry if this is confusing. Elizabeth says to Jane, she's like, I could more easily forgive his vanity had he not wounded mine. And I feel like that's how you feel. Like you understand that like people are somewhat vain. Like that's just a part of us. You're going to be attracted to who you're attracted to. And it's like, well, I could more easily forgive your mistakes if you hadn't have wounded me, like in this particular way in regards of my vanity. And I really think for some of you, this had to do with your looks, or it had to do with your like status as a female. Like he could have been trying to put you, it's very little boy. Like this is very little boy. He could have been very childish, trying to put you in competition with other people, trying to wound like your own vanity or something like that. And I feel like that stays with you. And that's what you think of when you think of him. And it's really caused a problem because he actually likes you. This man could have grown up a little bit at this stage. And yeah, I'm seeing him put his head in his hand like, oh my God, what have I done? Because he feels more grown up now, like more of a man, more of a like, I'm not afraid to show myself to my woman, and my buddies need to like chill it down. For some, I'm hearing he had an experience with one of his guy friends that was like hanging out with this this group of friends. They could have been out at the bar, you know, and I'm hearing this like friend did it like once or twice, you know, where it's like, okay, you know, we roughhouse at the bar, I do something stupid, like maybe got arrested or like you know, caused a bar fight, got thrown out, like whatever. And it was like a couple of times. But I feel like that friend had a woman that he wanted and that he liked. And that friend was like, no, like showed that distinguishment, showed that maturity of like, no, I have this, I just heard I have a vision of my future and the family that I want, and she's always in it. And if my children do not have her features, I think it will kill me. Like, so I'm that makes her my priority, and I would just be stupid to ignore that. And I'm going over there. Like he's actually moving away from this like childhood group of friends. And it's like this group of friends needed to mature together, or they needed to dissipate so that each one of them, so that they weren't holding each other back to like this earlier regressed state of maturity. And for some, like whatever this man did to you, like if it broke your confidence or it broke a potential for a relationship in the future, he could have gotten stuck in this. It's very Peter Pan and Wendy, like, which I pick up on a lot, where Wendy's like, yeah, I mean, I feel like you were excited to grow up, and you were, even though you were sad to leave behind, like whatever former stage of life this was, you know, because Wendy is sad, but she grieves it, she mourns it, and she's like, but I leave the nursery tomorrow. So this man could have been stuck in some kind of like prolonged state of adolescence, but I feel like he's realizing that now. I'm also seeing they could have a drinking problem or a party problem. They're thinking about like leaving that behind because also that makes them stupid. I feel like this man kind of looks for a reason to be stupid. He keeps friends around him that don't make him think about like or reflect, and you know, oh well, they're worse than me or something like that. There's like self-sabotaging behavior. But I feel like there's been some kind of crossroads where I feel like I'm hearing the word affronted, where I feel like this man has felt affronted, but it's because he wasn't maturing at the pace that he needed to. He was affronted by the woman of you. So I don't know if you knew each other in the past and now you guys have like reconnected, but it's like they have to get reacquainted with you, because I am seeing like a separation or a distance here but I'm seeing like you went off and you kept maturing. You were embracing the stages of life as they came, and like you were changing and morphing, and because to you that's an adventure. And this is actually tying back. I did a reading not I don't know, maybe like a month ago now. I don't know, what is time? But it was something about like a racetrack where they needed to be shown that them being in their little hot rod car, that's not actually very practical, and they're running around the same circles, which, so it could be the same people that just never ever mature. They're always going to the bar. Like they never take risks. They think of themselves as being what they are is like some kind of adrenaline junkie or some kind of dopamine junkie, and they equate that with being adventurous, but really they're scared. They're scared to progress. They're scared to have a real adventure that progresses them, that changes them in some kind of like profound way. They're terrified of that. And I feel like that was the state that they're in. So now there's a huge maturity gap between the two of you, like absolutely huge. And, you know, I think for some, this does have to do with cheating, because like I've always, well, not always, but I've been kind of reflecting on a lot of women. They are taught, okay, like you need to be loyal and you need to be this. So when you start getting into relationships, you know, when you're maybe a teenager or a young adult, like you're faithful. Well, not all women, okay, but I'm just speaking in generalities here for a second to make a point. So a lot of women, it's like you're actually faithful in the relationships that you're in. So you're actually learning how to maintain a relationship, because it's not going to be exciting forever, but you're learning how to value that relationship and how to like that your dopamine levels and how preoccupied you are, that's really your business. So you hang out with your girlfriends, you find hobbies, you go to school, you find other activities. Like you don't put all your eggs in the basket of like, you're going to entertain me or I'm going to cheat on you and leave and blame you and tell you it's your fault. Like, why can't you manage yourself as an adult? You know, it's that kind of a thing. So this man would also, I think, potentially get into quote unquote relationships, but not be faithful. So actually, like, for some of you, you reacquainted with this man and you kind of need to know that he hasn't been practicing in the same way. So he can tell you, yeah, I've had like 3 serious relationships, but he cheated on every one of those girlfriends. So he doesn't, so that's contributing to a maturity level. Like, you would expect him to have confronted certain things in himself and to have come up with like coping skills and to kind of know the lay of the land. But I think for some of you, it's like he's actually serious about you. And he was in the past too, but it's like he couldn't turn that corner of maturity in himself. So now he's like, wow, like you're everything that I ever wanted. I'm literally getting that. It's like that. And I'm kind of seeing that in the Swan Princess, like Odette, where he's like, you're everything that I ever wanted. You're beautiful. And she's like, thank you, but what else? And he's like, what else is there? You know, like this person's really taken by your beauty now. And that's another aspect of them being confronted by the woman of you. And I'm actually seeing this person look at your face and like look at your features, and they're trying to figure out like what changed. They're like, what did you do like to your face? They think you had some kind of work done that you did not get done. Like you just grew into your womanly form, because this person knew you when you were a young adult, like where you had more of the baby face, like the rounder features. And I kind of think in the past too, that this man could have been comparing you to older women. So that could be, I don't know, maybe this guy's older and he could get into bars before you could. So he's like comparing you to these women that are a couple years. And this would be that sensitive time where it's like you know, where it's like you're going to change drastically like in the next like couple of years. It feels like it's around that time. So he could have been comparing you to people who are just a couple of years older, but it made all the difference in the world. So he was like, well, these people are like so much hotter. They're so much more mature, or there's something here. He could have been comparing you to older women, even if that was just celebrities, like that he was seeing on posters or in movies. It's like, well, that person is just so foxy, so fine, so hot. And, you know, she's cute. Like this person has always been attracted to you. Okay. Like I just heard they've always been taken by your beauty, but they just don't, I don't know. It's like it wasn't clicking. Something here wasn't clicking, that they were having sensations and feelings about you that was different. And I go back to other messages that I had that talk about being process oriented versus being fixed mindset oriented. So I think there was something about you that this person thought was never going to change, but it had to do with your body. And you were in a state of change. Like you were a young adult, or you were, I mean, and women's bodies change a lot. So I feel like it was just wrong. Like whatever this person thought, like they thought you were a known quantity to them. And you've actually, like, I just heard upgraded, like you've changed and shifted a lot. And also I feel like as you've grown in maturity, like some of you are understanding better how to dress for your body, or like what colors to wear or something. And those are the things that are making actually a huge shift in the way that you look and how you're appearing. So it's like, I'm hearing like you're everything that I ever wanted. And God's kind of like winking at me, like, I always knew that. So, but this person couldn't see the process of you. And this person is learning how to value process. But it's like they needed to go on the journey with you. They needed to hold hands with you, and they needed to elevate too. They needed to grow in maturity too. And then this person would have just woken up one day and again been confronted by like the woman of you, but they would have been growing too, so it wouldn't have been such a big change. I feel like this man almost feels like punched in the gut. And this has to do with your looks, but this also has to do with like a ferocity. Because the other thing that I feel like he misunderstood about you is your personality. Because I feel like, again, there's something more childlike. So you could have been coming up out of childhood whenever this man was around you. And children are meant to be deferential. Like we are all just in childhood where you always have a teacher or a parent that's telling you like what to do, or you have to go ask permission. So it's this very deferential mindset that you were learning how to kind of like come up out of. But also I do feel like there was a lot of training and a lot of brainwashing, if you want to use that, or that you were supposed to be like nice and you were supposed to be like a certain way. But also I do feel like he's realizing that you were right in your heart, and you had your head on straight, like when it came to a relationship, and that he attributed your kindness and your cooperation as a fixed personality trait when it wasn't. You were trying to have a relationship with him of whatever kind. Like you guys, I'm kind of getting that you were friends first, or you could have been in a relationship. So you were trying to have a relationship with him. So you were cooperative. That wasn't your personality. You were just in healthy energy, but he wasn't. And so when that changed, again, like the woman in you is like, you match energy is what I'm hearing. You switch it up, I switch it up, because I expect to be respected. I don't want Peter Pan. Nobody does. Okay. Like, you need to grow it up, and this man was like confronted with that. But the reason it was so shocking, because I feel like this was a tower moment. In all the right ways I just heard. But this was like it was like an extreme change, but it shouldn't have been. But it's because you went on a journey like connected to your own like maturity and your own womanhood. And I'm hearing like you made the kind of proper changes where you were pruning away like the friends and the ideas and the things that were like no longer serving you so that you could grow into like the woman that you are. And he wasn't doing that. And so he's still kind of stunted. Like, I feel like there's an emotional growth, like stunting issue. He's more stunted than he lets on. And I'll be very careful if this man comes back into your life, because I think he is, for some, I'm hearing he's a manipulator. And for some, like, you did have to learn that you have some kind of karmic cycle to work out with, like the archetype of the manipulator, not just like necessarily this guy. He chose to take that up. And this is linked with immaturity to me, and it links with trying to show off for his buddies. So what I mean by that is a manipulator can wear many faces to many people, depending on what he determines that they want to see. And I really think that he tried to wear a King of Pentacles mask with you in the past. But if you try to build on that, if you try to put weight on a facade of a King of Pentacles, it's going to fall right through. And I feel like that did happen. It fell right through because he wasn't, I just heard he couldn't put up or shut up. He really couldn't deliver, but he was not trying to deliver. He was trying to pull the wool over your eyes. And then for some, he wanted to run back to his buddies and be like, isn't it so cool that like she believes me? Like, oh, she's so stupid. You're not stupid. He was intentionally trying to manipulate you because he's ill aspected, like in his heart and in his mind. And really, I feel like this is some kind of immaturity because he didn't want you to go. And there was this fixation, but it was like, oh my God, how do I... He needed to move away from his buddies. He needed to be less dependent on like their reactions, because he did want you. It's like he didn't know how to keep, the way to keep you was too big of a change, and he had to be strong to do that. He had to be self-determined. He needed to say, no, this is who I am. This is what I want for my life, and I'm not risking it. Like, I'm not risking it. Like, I hope that you guys can come around and that we can be lifelong friends, but you do have to grow up. I'm growing up. Like, and I think he was actually being called on to be a leader in this group of friends. And it actually could be because for some, this group of friends actually does look up to him in some way. Like, if he's doing it, there is no excuse kind of thing. And that was like part of some kind of like divine plan. But I would be careful if this person comes back into your life, because they have to shed the archetype of the manipulator and the fool. Because this person's like a gambler. And I feel like they're like, oh, wait, I realize what I want now. Now that I've like ruined things between us, and they talked a bunch of smack and stuff like behind your back. And I don't think that this was intentionally malicious. I think they were guarding their heart, and I think they were trying to show off to their friends. And they need to shed that archetype, though, of the manipulator. They need to learn how to actually be what they want to be. They need to learn how to decide who they are, too, like in and of themselves, and to not put that in the hands of other people, whether it's you or whether it's their friend group. But I do feel like this person's kind of realizing that it was always you. Like, they always wanted you. And I think there was a natural compatibility, like your inner children, like really get along. And even the bickering, because I feel like there could have been like fighting or bickering, or like, you know, like fighting over, you both want this same toy, you know, or something, and you'll fight over it, and you'll bonk each other on the head. Like, there's it's kind of, you have to feel kind of comfortable with somebody to whack them over the head and fight them over a toy, you know? There is a certain amount of comfortability here. There is a certain amount of compatibility. Also, you both want the same toy, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, we could learn to share it, you know, and that might be grounds for a partnership. You know, like if we could figure out how to share the toy instead of bludgeoning each other over it, that might be worth it for us to do, you know? But I feel like somebody's got to make the first move here. And I kind of think it's got to be the bigger one, the one that can do the most damage in a fight. I kind of think it's that person that's got to put their sword down first. And I think this man has perceptions, or was told that men should be the leader in their relationships. That would be him leading in the relationship, like in a healthy way. So now I think he's realizing that something has to change if they can't just show off to you. And for some, I feel like this man was trying to show off to you, but it was like by bringing in, I just heard other bitches, like somebody here that he wanted you to feel jealous of. But what that did is it wounded your pride at a very key time in your life. It left a scar that you will never forget, I just heard. And so when you think of him, you think about the pain of him. And I don't think that you even realize this is like a sign of immaturity, but it is a sign of immaturity. Yeah, they're realizing. I feel like this person is putting the pieces together. Like, I really should have grown up. You know, yeah, the truth is that they were defensive as well of your strength. Like, this person saw you standing in your strength. They wanted it. It's like this person wanted it. Yeah. And their friends knew. And I feel like their friends were kind of like roasting them or starting like, oh, you like her. And they're like, what? Shut up. No, I don't like her. But like, he did like you, and he should have just been able to say that. So that's what I have here for you. This is a connection here from the past. But like I said, I would I would still have my guard up if this person came back around, because I don't think this person has been practicing. I don't think that they have the kind of experience that you would assume that they had. If this person told you, yeah, I've been in a marriage even, or like, a couple major relationships, I don't know that it it equates to the experience that you think that it does, like internally. But I think this has been a big wake up call here for this person. And I think it's an adjustment. This is like some kind of adjustment, some kind of spiritual adjustment where it's getting them back en route, but they have to confront their fears and take responsibility for some kind of secretive energy, hidden energy, leading with illusions. This person, I feel like what it is with you is that they always thought that the manipulator archetype gives them everything that they want. With you, they're confronted with being the manipulator took everything from them. Like that could be a happy home. It could be their mental stability. This person could be very cyclical, emotionally like unstable. They were sweeping all of that under the rug and being like, look, I get everything I want, but this feels like very shallow. This feels like going out to the bar just to like manipulate people into sleeping with them. Well, I got everything that I ever wanted on this like material superficial level, but really in terms of like their heart, they got nothing that they wanted. And it's because they couldn't confront what they actually wanted and be soft. So they've run its course. They've found the limit to the manipulator archetype. That's what this feels like. And it feels kind of like, back in the day where a lot of people thought that the ocean just like ended, and you just fall off the face of the earth. It feels like, whoa, like, just like, oh my gosh, I almost fell off the face of the earth. And so this person's realizing that they've gone quite a ways in the wrong direction and that they've also been called out. Like, I feel like you've moved from like a denial phase into an anger phase. This to me feels, I just heard the word quantum, but also it feels very like lifetimes. Like this is a soul journey. You guys have known each other for a while. You've always been in each other's energy. And I feel like you went through some kind of phase. And this even could be like the age of Pisces, like a over 2,000 year period of incarnations where you were in a denial phase about why this person was behaving the way that they were. And it was because there was secrets. There were possibly like a secret family, or just there was emotional instability. Like this person was not your King of Pentacles. This person was never your Emperor. And you were kind of cheating yourself out of actually getting to experience that. Like if you're building a relationship with a manipulator archetype, you're not building a relationship with a King of Pentacles archetype. You're not building it with an Emperor archetype. And your guides really want you to have a taste of what that is, so that it kind of breaks you out of this denial of who this guy was pretending to be. And I feel like that truth has really landed with you and it's made you angry. And the woman of you can channel that anger, and it can stand up for yourself, and it can toss it back is what I'm getting, where you're like, you can hold a boundary, you can say no. And it's like you're protecting the little girl that was you, the young adult that was you, that didn't know what was going on, that didn't know why she was being treated badly, that blamed herself, that had her pride and her vanity wounded at a very tender age. That she's had to like kind of come up out of. You are being your own advocate and your own protector here. You're actually teaching him how to do it. I just heard you're initiating him into his own manhood. But it is through this like righteous anger. And I think now this man is also angry because he could have been in denial. And I think this may have to do with some kind of energies that were around him in the past that were somehow profiting off of him staying weak and staying in a state of emotional variability and cycles and deceit. There's people that don't want him to grow up as well. But this is why like a plant has to like kind of push against gravity, has to push up through the soil. Like he needed to push up through these things in order to be strong like the Emperor, like strength has to be built. And so I feel like he's really mad at himself, but he is starting to realize you kind of can't be a manipulator and not also fall prey to manipulation, because you're so focused on having to juggle all the variables of your own manipulation that this man is really seeing the shadow side of having become the manipulator. And the Fool, it's like very much the Fool archetype, jumping in, jumping out, not building, not sustaining, just fleeting, very short-lived interactions with people, not building truly long-term connections. It makes for a very emotionally and variable life. And also there could be a lot of moving in terms of like home and stuff. I just heard his children, like they have to cycle through homes. So it could be like they just have to live out of, I did this. I lived out of a suitcase for a lot of my childhood, and I never really felt like I could land, even though I had places to go, so it could even be that, or then their parents are dating, maybe they have to move in and out with like other kids, like I don't know, just like this extreme being like in flux. But this person is realizing that there's actually been quite a bit of deceptive people that have cropped up around them in their family. Could be that they have children with deceptive people. They could notice deceptive traits in their own children. So they're realizing they've got a lot to fix. They're realizing that they've reaped what they've sown. They're feeling like on the back foot about all of it. They're confronted with it. But it's because they've been kicking the rock down the road they've been kicking the can down the road, I should say, for quite a period of time. And now they're having to take responsibility. They have trusted the wrong people. They've partnered with the wrong people. There's some kind of karmic from their past that they partnered with. Because this person was chasing a fantasy and somebody else was chasing them. That was very manipulative, very deceitful, maybe wanted to work together, acted like there was some kind of stability here, but that was like the stronger energy. So yeah, that's it. I feel like they're confronted, and I just heard they're confronted by themselves at night, where like the hustle and the bustle of the day kind of dies down, and they are just like laying there in bed, like in their home, in their emotional variability, kind of just like, whoa, confronted with they feel like they've kind of lived a lie, or like what they thought was the truth. They're realizing that they never saw the truth. Like this feels for huge, like almost decades of their life. They were living a lie. They were living in fantasy and in delusion about their activities, their behaviors, the people that they had around them, their friend groups, their the partners, what they thought they were doing, they were not doing. Like this, the manipulator can really only create a lie. And that's different than the magician. I feel like this person's being asked to at least step into the magician archetype, where it's like you're taking back control, and they've got everything that they need to manifest something different. They're potentially learning some kind of new skills, whether this is emotional skills, parenting skills, social skills, emotional skills. Did I already say that? If I did, they're definitely working on emotional skills. For some, this is like job training. They're taking themselves seriously as an adult. I just heard finally, this also could have been a person that was scared to step into the archetype of the adult because they thought that it was boring. They thought it was like the kiss of death. They thought that if they started being, I feel like they could have made fun of you, because I'm seeing Virgo energy, and this links over to a Patreon reading for those of you that are over there. It was the one where, remember I kept seeing the grandfather clock, and it was like the sun was like the clock energy. So you could be like a Virgo or have strong like earth energy in your chart, where you're very punctual is what I'm hearing, and you're very reliable, and you're very so where this person's very variable in their home, in their family, in their emotions, you are very routine, you're very predictable. And that's because that routine energy is the baseline for a lot of success. If you're routine in your meals and your exercise, your shower, you're brushing your teeth, congratulations, you've got the foundations of health, right? If you're routine with your kids, and kids need predictability, right? That's how they build their strong emotional foundation to not be so emotionally variable. If they can predict your behaviors most of the time, how you'd react to this or how you'd react to that, they know that 4 o'clock is snack time. They know that after that is yard time. They know after that is homework time. Those routines actually make people feel, you're setting the foundation to have very healthy, well-rounded kids, in a relationship. But I feel like this person can be making fun because it just goes back to maturity. So like with their friends, like, like she's so responsible, but also like they're making fun of that. And it's because they're afraid of it. They're afraid that once they start brushing their teeth every day, which is gross. Sorry, that was just what came to me. But it's like once they start being routined, disciplined, that all of a sudden they're gonna want to wear khakis, and then they're gonna be boring. But it's like this person doesn't know what boring is. Okay, I feel like actually this is the same old with this person. Yes, they jump in with a different person every night, but it is the same routine, and it has been for 20 years. So it's, in a way, they thought that they were avoiding something here, but they are exactly what they're afraid of. They're boring. Like, they are actually predictable in their unpredictability. And they actually are doing the same thing. Because I feel like you've moved on. Like your predictability it means that you achieve your goals and then you move on to other goals. So things have actually moved. You have a genuine sense of adventure in your life. So this person could have been making fun of that in you, but also I'm hearing they could have been using that against you. So even your time or like your schedule, where it's like, okay, yeah, you wake up in the morning and you work out, like you eat breakfast, you work out, then you go to work, then you work on a project that you're doing. Like this person kind of knew your schedule and they knew how to trick you. They knew like when you weren't going to be around or paying attention. And so they tried to exist their nasty, sloppy self in your blind spots where you felt like trustworthy. And this person, that's how they could trick you too. Like that they were the King of Pentacles. That's how they could trick you. Cause they like, from, 5 to 9, they're on their best behavior and they're doing the King of Pentacles and maybe they're helping with the dishes. But when you go away for the day, like that's when they're being in their devil energy. You're just not seeing it. So they were trying to weaponize like how punctual you were, how dedicated you were to achieving your goals and stuff. Like your predictability, they tried to weaponize that against you because they wanted to try to induce a sense of emotional instability in you. They wanted, for some, this person really wanted you on the back foot. This was a trigger to them. Like whether or not they know it, your maturity, your adulthood, your commitment to living your life and achieving the things that you want in your life, getting the outcomes that you want in your life and really taking up the reins of that was a trigger. I'm like seeing them trying to smash that. So, oh my gosh. And that's like a thing that I want to smash that, but it was more than that. And this person's gross for that. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care how young you are. Like who are you around? Like, you know what I'm saying? But it was always more than that. So this person could have made you feel like a piece of meat or, I don't know. But it's ironic because now this person is kind of having to eat their words. They're kind of having to realize that you were right. And that I'm hearing decades. This person is just decades behind you. It's like they're having to eat their words and they're having to try to master the things I just heard without you, like right there by their side, like also having good habits and routines that they can ask questions to or something. But this person feels decades behind you in terms of emotional maturity and growth, job skill set, maturity and growth. They've wasted a lot of their time and they're confronted by it. But it's through the woman that you are. Because I feel like this person is seeing the results of your hard work. There's just no arguing with it. Like you were correct. They were not. They've squandered a lot. I feel like this person maybe rode on their potential and they hook people on their potential, but then they never live up to their potential. So this ended up being a long reading. I thought that this was kind of short, but also this person's realizing that they love you. They're realizing that they love you. And if this person put you in competition with other people, I feel like I don't think that you're concerned about this, but I feel like you've outpaced those people. Like, because you were always going to grow into yourself and the seeds of you were always there. I just heard this person just feels like a fool. Some of you left this person behind because you realized that something needed to change. And that is a reflection of your emotional maturity. This person is basically just realizing that you were right and they were wrong, like in a lot of things. So that's what I have for you. If that resonates, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.